from Dallas Strength and Conditioning, and I'm going to be answering a couple questions from the weekly Q&A that is done every weekend. Just post your questions in the Dallas Strength and Conditioning Facebook page. So the first question was, are Brent's glasses women's frames? Yes, they are. They are Gloria Vanderbilt's. Brent, correct me if I'm wrong. Next question was, do I press Brent or can I press Brent? Pretty sure I can, and I've done it before. Yes. Next question was, how much do I curl? I love curls. They're awesome. So I can curl a lot. I mean, but I don't know. I've never measured that. So I'll have to, though. I'll get back to you. Next question was, is your stance the same when you're front squatting and back squatting? I feel your stance is the same when you are high bar back squatting and front squatting. I feel your stance is slightly different when you are low bar back squatting than when you're front squatting. This is because your back angle is going to change slightly. And when you low bar back squat, you're shoving your butt back further and you're leaning more forward. So I feel you're going to have a little bit wider stance than if you're front squatting or high barring. You're going to be more, your torso is going to be more upright and more vertical, and therefore your knees are going to be more forward. Therefore, you're going to have a more narrow stance. Unless you have really long limbs, and there's always an exception, and some people have a wider stance when they front squat. Next question was, what is the best mobility exercise to help a lifter get depth? Well, I'm going to say there's two that I really like that I do and I have people do, or have lifters do. So first one is cross ball to the external rotators of the hip. And to do that, get down on the floor, lacrosse ball or baseball. Lacrosse ball is better for smaller guys. Baseball is good for bigger guys. I should be using a baseball, but I don't have one. So I'm going to use a lacrosse ball. External rotators, plop down, and then kind of mash around and kind of feel what areas hurt or what areas are tight, and kind of focus on those areas. Another thing you can do is get your hips into flexion and do the same thing, roll around, stay there for about 2 minutes, and then you can do some tack and stretch, which is moving the joint and keeping the ball in that same area. That's a good one. Another one that I enjoy is the couch stretch, and that is getting on a couch or a bench or whatever, and that's going to hit your, that's going to have you be able to stretch your hip flexors and psoas. Another thing to get your psoas better, lift your arm up, feel it open up, and when you do this, make sure you keep your low abs tight, or basically all your abs tight. So contract your abs. Another thing, squeeze your butt, contract, relax, go back further. Just make sure you're not getting into lumbar extension. And after you graduate from that, you can go to the wall and do it, and then you can get your foot into plantar flexion, and that'll give you a better stretch. So I feel like those two are very good for helping a lifter get depth on squat. So those are all the questions for this week. So next week, send your questions to the Facebook page, Dallas Strength and Conditioning, and I will see you guys down the road.